Hi, I'm Zach Quinn and welcome to Home Helpers. Today we're with Roof Depot and we're talking about replacement of roofs and all things concerned. Michael, how are you?
Hi, Zach.
Nice to see you. Scott?
Hi.
Appreciate you guys taking a few minutes. So tell us some information about roofs and how we can help our clients with that.
Well, today we're going to talk about the most common question we get is, how do I know I need a new roof, right?
Okay.
So we're going to give you some common indicators first that homeowners themselves can walk out and maybe tell for themselves without getting a professional involved. The first one is the age of the home. If it's 12 years old or older and has the original roof, it's probably about time to start looking at getting it replaced.
Really?
The builders don't put on a very high-grade shingle at the start
We
sometimes.
do see that.
So that's one indicator. If you see a lot of granules, if you're up cleaning your gutters, you see a lot of granules in the gutters, that's one of the indications that the roof is starting to age and lose those important granules, and that's one reason there. And then we see the most common that people are aware of. We get phone calls off the hook on storm damage. The first is wind. If you're missing shingles at all, if you're seeing tabs sliding off your roof, that's an indication for you that you better call somebody fairly quick.
Absolutely. Got big problems already.
And then also there's some other issues in that area. One is a creased shingle. Scott, you want to
Sure.
show?
Sure. This is an example of what a crease shingle looks like, and this is common, particularly in three-tab type shingles, where the tab will come up due to wind, uplift, and then what happens is all the granules get displaced right along this ridge. Sometimes you can see this from the ground, a lot of times you cannot. Because when this tab comes up, you've now compromised this shingle.
Right.
Here. Okay, it's never gonna lay down flat again. Plus, these granules are on the roof for a reason. So if you got a line of granules that are displaced, you're gonna have an issue there. Some of the other things that you'll see, particularly when it comes to wind damage, is potentially shingles that tear. You have storm damages that you can't easily see from the ground.
Right.
And that's hail damage. What happens is when a hailstone hits, granules get displaced, causing an indentation into the shingle itself, which compromises the shingle long term.
So it not only compromises the shingle, but it also compromises some metal items that might be on the roof as well.
Well, that's the first indication that when an adjuster comes out, they're going to look at the soft metal, your box vents, your HVAC vents, and see if there are dents there, because that's what the storm will do for you. The key about hail damage is to make sure you call a professional, though. This is not, as Scott said, you can't see it from the ground on your own, and you want somebody who understands hail damage versus blistering or mechanical damage.
Okay, so if someone thinks that they might have a situation like this, who do they call?
Well, it would be best if they called us. We've been in business a long time. But make sure that you do your research and you call the company that's going to come out and make sure they tell you not only that you have it, but you may not have it, and that's important for you too. When we come out, we talk about how long the life of that roof is good for. So,
You know, I think that's a very important piece. When you come out and you do a free inspection for somebody, you're going to give them a straight shot. You're going to take photographs up there on the roof. You're going to identify any problem areas that you guys see, as well as if the roof is in good shape, you can give them an expectation of what the life expectancy is of the roof.
well, the best way to keep a customer or to get a new customer is to be honest and upfront right from the very beginning.
Well, that's important, and that's why we're with you guys.
I appreciate it.
Thanks very much. You're watching The Home Helpers, and we will be right back. Hi, you're watching The Home Helpers, and we're with Roof Depot. We were talking about some items that homeowners might find that will be uncommon, that they might indicate that they need a roof, some roof work. So, Michael, help me out with that. What would be some information they could help with?
Well, there's a number of indicators that homeowners can't tell on their own, and one of them is if you've got 2 layers of shingles currently on your roof.
Now, how would that happen?
Well, sometimes it's contractors taking shortcuts, trying to save money. They'll tell a homeowner who never gets on the roof that they've replaced the roof, and they just lay another layer of shingles on it so they don't have to tear it off and take the man hours to do that.
That's a problem.
Sometimes it's the homeowners who think they're talked into cutting the cost by just putting new shingles on top of old.
When you lay a second layer of shingles on top, even if you have the minimum, say 25-year 3-tab,
Right.
you're not getting 25 years out of that shingle.
Absolutely. Cuts the life down a lot.
Yeah, by close to half. What happens is when you have that layer underneath, moisture gets trapped in underneath there.
Okay.
Okay? Shingles aren't meant to be laid on top of other shingles. So what happens is that moisture trapped underneath there starts breaking down those shingles way prematurely.
So what other kinds of things do we run into?
Well, I think all of us have experienced this at one time or another. If you go up in your attic to get those Christmas decorations, down early or to rearrange or store some items, you'll find that attic is very, very hot.
Right.
Now here in Georgia, the attic's always going to be hot, but if it's extremely hot, what you're finding is either poor ventilation or lack of ventilation.
Okay.
And people ask us, well, what does that have to do with getting a new roof? Well, what happens is the shingle starts baking from the inside out. Now those granule lots we talked about earlier starts to come on this roof and tears down the whole fabric of the roof and ages it, as Scott said, prematurely.
So heat can be a big problem for roofing.
Heat is
Yes.
an enemy, along with water.
Okay.
We also find that customers will ask us a lot of times, why are the black marks or streaks I have on my roof? And why is my roof dirty? I just put this thing on 3 years ago.
And what does that mean?
It's algae and fungus that's growing on the roof.
Okay.
And what happens is it starts to eat away at the granules as well, and starts to age the roof and starts to do the same thing hail damage does in terms of displacing the granules. We want to make sure customers understand, or potential customers understand, that don't resist the temptation to get on that roof and power wash that clean.
I've seen that done. That's a big problem.
Asphalt shingles, they're not meant to have a high-pressured water at close range. It will displace them.
Yeah, it's not designed to do that.
It's not designed, so you could wind up causing more damage than what you already have.
Shooting straight with them is while we're with you guys. We certainly stand behind what you're doing, so.
Appreciate it.
You're watching The Home Helpers. We'll be right back.